138 o'clock.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast and around the world, you're listening to the Sportcat Show.
That's right, Joe, the Sportcat Show on the Paranormal Guys. We are blessed tonight. We have a great guest, a great setup of guests tonight. But first, let's see. First off, let's thank Ross Radio at Yerg's Radio. Ross Radio. Yerg's on Ross. Yerg's Radio, yergsradio.com. Maybe I should bring my ladies out and let them do this. And Rainbow Radio for allowing us on there. We would also like to thank the Parapost Network. Yeah, we're not live on there tonight. So.
Oh, okay. We can thank them anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. We do appreciate. They did give us some good time there, so we do appreciate it. We have a great guest. She's from the same state as me, and she's been a part of some of the things I've been a part of. And so Angie is got some great stories, and she's also going to tell us about a Bigfoot festival coming up here in Georgia too. So without further ado, let's bring out Angie. Angie, yay. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here.
We are glad you're here.
I'm very happy to be here.
Well, I should have gotten you on sooner, but for some reason I've neglected like the people in my inner circle, like you and Greg I've just recently had on. And yeah, I've had all these other people. I'm thinking to myself, why don't I invite some people I hang out with? So of course, then you might make fun of me and that would just be ugly at the campfire.
No.
But
we're going to make fun of you anyway.
True. Well, Bobby did record and play back live on one of the shows, me snoring in my tent. So it's just love. So Angie, what got you into this?
Just always loved the subject. As a kid, in search of all the little shows that would come out with the mysteries of Bigfoot. So I loved it. And that was one thing, me and my husband, we loved to watch Finding Bigfoot. And because he always swore that he had an experience out hunting, and he didn't tell anybody, but he always felt like he got paralleled coming out of the woods one day. But he died in 2018. So I lived in a camper for a few months till I could, get my bearings about myself. And you can only watch so much Netflix. So I found Sasquatch Chronicles and just, every night that's what I would listen to. And I was just amazed at how many stories and eyewitnesses was just everywhere. So then I just started, looking up stuff. And then I said, I wonder if there's anything on Facebook. So I just, punched in Bigfoot groups, and all of a sudden, Sasquatch Georgia came up, and there was 2 or 3. And I was like, oh my God, there's other people. And just joined and just started reading everything I could. I'm a documentary person. I don't watch much TV. But I love documentaries and stuff like that. So I just started learning as much as I could. And I had a friend that I had just met, and him and I were talking, and I brought up the subject. He said, I don't think you're crazy. He said, because I saw one when I was 19 years old up near Helen in Sasquatch, Georgia. And I was like, you're kidding. He said, no, I'm telling you. Me and 3 of my friends. We looked at it for about 2 minutes, and it scared us really bad. And so he told me the story, and I said, hey, I've been reading these reports from the BFRO database. Can I just write this down. I don't know why, but I just want to make a report about it. I just want to know. And so I did a little report. And I thought it was pretty good. And I just said, I'm going to share it in one of the Bigfoot groups and see if anybody likes it. So I did. And I got really good feedback. Only one guy told me I shouldn't do all capital letters. So I learned then it's easier to read. Not, it's harder for people to read it apparently if you do all caps. So, and then a guy named Johnny Two Bears reached out to me, and he told me he was trying to put together like a little team in Georgia, and he liked my report and wanted to know if I'd be interested in maybe joining with them. So I took a shot and drove to this secret location and met these strange men in the middle of the woods, and it started it all. So here I am.
You've never been the same since.
I have never been the same since. No.
It's funny.
And later on, he did get some good footage from that same area that we were at. So, which I didn't see anything that day, but.
It's funny you say that. When I introduced Bobby Dizzle to our group and with Bob and them, I said, I'm just going to give you some coordinates and you have to show up at them and can't tell anyone or say anything. And his wife swore we were going to kill him. Which is great. Mary Lyons in the chat says, do y'all have any theories as to where Bigfoot originates from? Well, that's a fascinating question. What do you think, Angie?
Nobody knows, of course, and everybody has an opinion. Personally, I lean toward relic hominoid, an ancient type of ape that has these unbelievable abilities to do crazy stuff. Too many eyewitness reports, and I watched something myself happen. So I just really feel like they have some kind of ability to, I don't know, do amazing things. I mean, there's just too many reports of, people seeing them disappear. I've been circled by an orb before I had what we believe was a Bigfoot looking at us around a tree, and I'll tell you that story. But a lot of reports of a bunch of amazing stuff. So I lean toward relic hominoid as what I think it is.
She says almost like a differently evolved mammal.
Yeah, well, we had Neanderthals. We know this. I don't know if they even know how many different types of humanoid type people were, ancient people. They've discovered, I'm probably not going to say it right, but Denisovans is another type like Neanderthal. So who's to say there couldn't be more?
Well, and then, you have like Ron Moorhead, he talks about the quantum theory with Bigfoot. So, and I do think that there's a difference between what we have here in the South as opposed to what they have in the West, because typically those tend to be much larger. And I think a little more elusive. Of course, I think the national forest out there is probably a little more vast than ours, but yeah, I agree with you, but I almost wonder if they don't have some help from something else. And, I hate to go out on a limb here, but I lean towards a little help from like ET or something. And I know people think I'm nuts, but I'm used to it.
Well, there's lots of theories. Gigantopithecus, Nephilim, alien, the woo.
There's definitely the woo surrounding them. So
yeah,
when you're tracking an animal in the woods and the tracks just disappear, How do you explain that? You know?
That I cannot explain.
Hello, Chris. And yeah, you're right. Actually, one of the guys that Angie and I have both been out in the woods with, he told us to relax, and some of our best experiences will come around the campsite because they're just as curious as to what we're doing outside of our element out in the woods. Is, you know, we're like their cable TV, is what Bob used to tell me. So it's true.
The scariest incident I had was around a campfire.
My short answer for Mary is that they tend to congregate around people who like to hide in other people's bathrooms from their best friends' mothers. And that's just for Mary. Yes.
Okay. I'll take it you have inside track. Yeah, I think they also I think there's something to the theory of the intent. You know, if you go out into the woods thinking I'm going to shoot one or something like that, you're probably never going to see one. You go out and set up a bunch of game cams, you're never going to see one. You know, you go out with an open mind and just enjoy nature and kind of let it happen. And I think that helps a whole lot. But tell us some of your stories, Angie. I could tell you a bunch of mine, but I want to hear about you.
Well, I only have one story that's of something that actually happened to me. It was after I joined what we called the Sasquatch Encounter Brigade. That was the team that Johnny and Joe Calley started. And then Scott DeForest joined later on. We kind of all live over in different parts of the state. And we had a guy named Kevin Crawford. He passed away a few months ago. He wanted us to come to Black Shear Waycross area. He said, you know, there was people seeing them down there. So I didn't really know the area, but because I was closest, I was voted to go down there and check it out. So I put together this little team, and some of them I had never met before. We had like a little town hall meeting. I actually joined a Black Shear Waycross discussion group and posted about it, that we were coming. If anybody had, any sightings, of course, I got roasted. But there would be 2 or 3 that would send me a private message, hey, please don't say my name, but this is what happened here and this is what happened there. And so I, wrote reports about all of them. And we had planned to go down there. I remember it was the last weekend in February. It was 2022. And we were going to stay Friday night at Kevin's property. And then Saturday night, we were going to stay at a blueberry farm on a river down there. I can't remember which one. I think it's Little St. Mary's River or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And that was the plan. So we had the town hall meeting on Friday night. I met John and April Pearson. That was the first time I had met them, and they were going to camp with us. And so we all went back to Kevin's property. Nothing happened. So then Saturday night, we were going to go to the blueberry farm, but we couldn't get back there. The sandy roads, dune buggies had tore the roads up so bad. Some people were in cars, and they just couldn't get through there. So we had nowhere to camp. Well, luckily, the week before, because I didn't know anything about the area, I drove to Waycross just to look around and just try to figure this out. This was my first, expedition that I planned out. So I was, really trying to do my homework. So I drove around and I found a WMA down there. And we've never told before where this happened at, but I'll tell you now. It happened at the Dixon Memorial WMA. So I drove back in there, and they had a nice little camping area. You know, it was on a dead-end road. And I thought, well, I mean, if anything happens, I guess we could come back here. And sure enough, so we weren't able to make it to the blueberry farm. So we tried to go to, is it Ralph Simmons State Park in Florida? I think I'm saying the name of it right. So we drove all the way to Florida, and the office was closed, so we couldn't camp there. So we was like, well, I said, I tell you what, guys. So it was me, Scott DeForest, John and April Pearson. I said, we got to drive back home anyway. I did find a place last week that I think we can camp there. It's not all that great. It's not real far from, town, but it was a camping spot. I mean, we're headed home anyway. We got to go right back through there. So let's just check it out. And if y'all don't like it, we don't have to stay. So we made it and, got back there. And Scott kept saying, we're going through all this for a reason. Something's going to happen. We're going through all this for a reason. Because, I mean, we were getting frustrated. Scott lived I think it would take Scott 5 hours to get home from there. So he lived on the other side of Atlanta. So I said, well, let's just set up camp. I mean, we're here. I mean, what we got to lose? So, and we were the only ones there. Like I said, it was the last weekend in February. John had brought this really nice camera on a stand. I think he said it was like a 4K. I don't know anything about cameras, so it was a nice camera, and it was on a tripod because he was going to video. We were going to really, try to get some evidence. He had that set up. We had a fire. I have a little solo stove that I love to take because those things are super easy. We were sitting around it. And April, bless her heart, she was more scared than I was. She was just really, Bigfoot was not her thing, but it was John's. She was trying to be supportive and trying to, participate in something John liked. So, but she was scared to death. So when we go out, we typically will sit around the fire, but we'll sit across from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see something or hear something, you don't turn and look. You just say, Scott, I just heard a crunch at about your 10 o'clock. Nobody looks. You just act like, normal. And so we was kind of in that position. We had heard the owl. Usually, I swear, we'll hear the coyotes. Yep. And then in a little while, we'll hear the owls. We'll hear an owl. And it'll be, I don't know why. It always is in that order. So we'd already heard the coyotes. So that's usually around 10. A little after that, we heard the owls. And so we're just sitting there. And April goes, what is that? And we look up. Up in the tree is an orb. And it's about that big. Now, this is all hardwood. And so the campground is like a rectangle shape at the end of a dirt road. And it's grassy. It's real cleared out just where you camp. And I guess maybe, I don't know, you could probably get 10 campsites in there. And they had the check station is there. So it's kind of a rectangle. So we all got up, and I was trying to film it with my phone, but of course you couldn't see it. But I do have the audio of us following it. So it goes down the wood line, and we're walking with it, and it stays in the top of the tree. And we go, takes a few minutes, and when it gets to the corner, it turns on that tree line. We follow it that way. when it gets to the road, the dirt road, that we drove down to get there, it's like it jumps down out of the top of that tree to about chest high. And it goes across the road and then it fades. It goes, it's like like pines planted on the other side of the road, like a pine thicket. And it just went through there until it went out of sight. So we was freaking out because we had all four of us watched and followed this orb. Scott was trying to record it, but I don't think anybody could get it on camera. So of course we were real pumped when that happened, and so we just stayed. And it wasn't very long after that, I heard something behind me. And I swear you think I'm crazy, but it sounded like an old 4-stroke motorcycle somebody was trying to crank. I don't know if y'all ever rode dirt bikes when you were kids and you kick start it, and it'll rumble for a minute and won't catch.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like. And so I was confused. I was like, what is somebody down in the woods trying to start an old motorcycle? And I looked at Scott, who was like, did you hear that? And I said, yeah, what was that? He said, that was 2 growls. I said, oh, no, But before that, April already said she was leaving. She said, I can't take it no more. I'm leaving. I just heard something scratch the back of our tent. I'm going to town.
Oh
and I was like, and so I told Scott, I said, oh my God, Scott, that's going to leave just me and you here. Oh my God, because that was really even more scary. And when I said that, it's when it growled. And so then when it growled, I said, hold up, April, I'm going with you because I am not, whatever this is right behind me, and I'm not doing it. So Scott said, hold up. We're all going to leave together. Because John was going to go get a room and they were going to come back the next day and get their stuff. They wanted to get on out of there. And Scott said, no, let's all crank our vehicles, just pull them around. Everybody shine your headlights. Let's all pack up. Just stay calm. They'll see we're leaving. Let's just, and so luckily, because I had that solo stove, I had a bunch of water and and it was cool like that. And I got that thing put out, put it on back of my truck, got our chairs up. They were taking down their tent. And and I was like this. So I was so worried I was going to leave something behind. And so I was, had pulled my truck around and I looked in my front seat. I was like, okay, I got my thermal, I got my phone, I got, make sure I had everything in my mind. And then I looked up, and towards where we had been was this really bright, glowing eye. Well, I didn't know it was an eye at the time, but it was about that big. But peeking out from around, there was a clump of trees that was inside the little camping area. The first little clump of trees, if you left the wood line, that's where it was. And it was so bright that it, caught my attention. And I was like, I know that was not there before. That's weird. But you could tell it was like reflecting. Brilliant white. I said, Scott, come here. Well, first, before I called Scott, I had this flashlight that they swore I would burn their eyeballs with. It was so strong. But I shined it down there. I didn't walk towards it, but I walked, outward so I could shine down behind it. Didn't see anything down in the woods. Whatever this was there at that tree. I wasn't looking at something through the tree. I said, Scott, come here for a minute. And he came over there. He said, what? I said, is that eye shine? He said, I don't know. I guess I'll walk down there and see. Now, I mean, I wish to God I would have got my phone out and recorded. I wished I would have. I forgot cameras existed, apparently. But you also don't think like what you're seeing is really that. So like I think he's gonna walk down there and debunk it, and say, oh, it's just a reflector on a tree or something.
Yep.
So it was about 40 yards out. So when he gets about halfway, he starts backing up. And I'm watching Scott back up. And then he starts running to his truck. He said, we got to get out of here now.
Oh.
So, of course, I jumped in my truck. And we all sped out of there. And Scott hollered the corniest thing. He said, you're not going to get that tent this time. And I thought, why did he say that? That's so stupid. Anyway, so we, I was like, that is so corny. Like, where did that come from? But there's a reason he said it. So we're all freaking out. We finally get to the end of the dirt road and we're like, we got to go somewhere. We got to calm down. So we go to like Waffle King or something like that. And we go in and we're just, and that's when I learned that when we first got there, I walked around, Scott walked around, John and April had went back to town, but at some point John had walked around, but Scott never told us that he found a tent pulled up in the woods that still had an air mattress in it.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's just weird. Like, surely DNR they would throw a tent away or something. They wouldn't pull it up into the woods. And why would somebody leave a tent and the air mattress still in it? I don't know. We just thought that was very weird. So that's why Scott said that, because I don't know, it was just odd. So that's really the only thing I have personally had happen to me. It wasn't really a full Class A sighting, but I don't know what else it could be. But Scott said when he got halfway there, that thing dropped, and that's what made him back up. He said that it came down like 4 or 5 inches, and it turned to its right. And when it did, that's when he saw both eyes. And that's when he said we got that. So, yeah, I mean, Scott's police officer, Marine, career, in law enforcement. So he ain't scared of much. And when I saw Scott fixing to run
there.
yeah. So yeah, it was
time
really
to go.
crazy.
Time to go.
Well, and John was filming. Well, his camera kept messing up, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He had to send it to the manufacturer. He had 3 batteries that night. It fried all 3 batteries.
Wow.
All 3 batteries were fried.
Yeah.
So
weird things happen. Yeah, we were out on a campsite one night, and I actually brought my wife out that night. And I think he was a Marine. He was definitely military. He got up in the middle of the night, left his tent, left everything. We haven't seen him since. I mean, literally, he just bailed. And that was the night we were sleeping in my tent. It was storming. My gosh, it was storming. And I'm surprised our tent didn't leak. And I'm all snuggled up under the covers. It's wintertime. And Beth is elbows me, and she goes, there's something out there. What do you mean there's something out there?
Well, yeah, there's something out there.
just rubbed the side of the tent. And I'm like, well, what did it feel like? She's like, it felt like fur. I'm like, big or tall? And she's like, I don't know. And we just both went back to sleep.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Well, a part of me still doubted what I saw. And I was like, what if we were wrong? What if that was really something in that tree? So that December, I had the opportunity to go see my niece that lives in Brunswick. And I said, it was me, my daughter, my aunt. And I said, we're going to go through Waycross. I'm going to take y'all to where I had that incident. And I want to look at that tree up close. I want to see if there's anything in that tree. So it was about 10 o'clock when we got there, and it was really creepy, but we didn't get out of the truck. So I just drove around and faced that tree, and I was like, y'all see that clump of trees right there? Do y'all see a reflector? Do y'all see anything in that tree? They were like, there's nothing in that tree. I said, okay. So, I mean, I drove up to it, and I said, well, that's what it had to be. I mean, it was about 7 foot up in the tree. I don't know.
When do y'all get out there and investigate out there?
Right? I would have been scared something would have jumped on my truck.
I was scared. I'm a lot braver now than I used to be when I first started, but I'm still scared. I'm still a scaredy cat. And I tell them, because some of them ladies, they're very brave. And I'm like, no, I'm still scared, but I love it.
Mary asked, where all have you explored or investigated, I guess?
Well, my main areas, I've been in North Georgia, saw zero, but that happens. I mean, most of the time you go out there, nothing happens. Troup County, a little bit in Troup County, Heard County, and the Okefenokee area. That's been the only places that I've been out. But I like to talk to people and, take their reports. So I probably got maybe 25 really good reports, most of them in Georgia. And most of them are anonymous. They don't want nobody to know, their name, because they're just scared of, they're business owners, or, just don't want to be, ragged about it, because you got to have thick skin if you're going to, take on this hobby.
Right.
Yes, you do.
I actually have a really good report from a family that saw one in, I can't remember the year now, so I think 1999 maybe, very close to Barnesville, which is very close to Molena. So I have a really good report there. And then I've had some people contact me that live around the Molena area. One guy sent me a howl that nobody can identify. I mean, I've sent it to several people that, are coyote experts and stuff like that. And they're like, no, that's not canine. I don't know what that is. So yeah, I just like to talk to people and have a nice little collection of my own reports that I do. And sometimes I put it in story form. Sometimes I keep it in just basic report form, like the day, the time, just the basic stuff. But sometimes I put it in a story form. So
have you thought about making all of that into a book?
Well, I'm actually writing a little book.
There you go.
It's very close. It's very close to being completed. It's called Bigfoot on the Brain. A little book, a little interesting book about Bigfoot. That's the name of it. So, right now, I didn't change the name of it 2 or 3 times. But it's a collection.
I think it's a good one.
It's a collection of all my reports. And just, it's almost like a little crash course, like in all the, the stuff I've had to study, just kind of somebody just getting into it can just read it and, a little crash course for them. I mean, it's not something that a researcher or something that's been in it for a while is going to get anything out of it, but it's just an interesting little book. Probably going to be about a 2 to 3 hour read.
Nice.
So,
Perfect.
How
I like that.
about Bigfoot derangement syndrome? How about that title? So
I like that one.
And I might copyright that one. I don't know. Well, but you know,
Well, I always,
you say that, but it does. It gets it almost addictive.
well, and when you, I don't want to judge anybody, but I just say a lot of people have Bigfoot on the brain. They think everything's Bigfoot,
Yes.
and it's not.
When
Everything is not big. Most things are not Bigfoot, but when you first start or you first go out, like me, I was like, oh my God, what's that smell? Oh my God, what's that sound? I think Bigfoot on the brain. I thought everything was Bigfoot my first time out. But then I don't know. I just love the subject. I've met some phenomenal people once I got involved in this. The people of Molena, them some wonderful people in that little unincorporated little spot, which is the home. The county, Pike County, is the home of the Elkins Creek casting, the footprint that was captured by Pat Akins, that sheriff's deputy.
It's 16 inches. Wasn't it?
I think it was 17 inches. He kept it in his closet for like 3 years because he really didn't know what to do with it. And then somehow somebody found out about it, and they talked him into sending it to, I think, Dr. Meldrum.
Mm-hmm.
And they examined it and said it was legit. It had dermal ridges and everything. I mean, it was an absolute footprint, 17 inches long. And I think the original got broke in shipping it back to Akins, but there's some replicas that were made of it. And the first or second one that was made off of it was donated to the Molena. I think it was last year at the festival. So they keep it in their city hall now in a little, like a shadow box type thing, and you could stop by and go look at it. So it's pretty cool. You can see it with your own eyes, all the little indentions and stuff. It's really, really cool. So that's how the Molena Bigfoot Festival got started.
Oh, that's cool.
Was because of that. Because Elkins Creek comes right. It's like 1 mile or half a mile. Either way, it's very close to Molena. So the Bigfoot Festival.
Yep. So it's funny how these little towns are adopting these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The festival is going to be on November the 9th. They're going to have a 5K and a 1 mile fun run. I think it's at 8:00 that morning.
Ooh, a Bigfoot fun run.
Mm-hmm. Usually when they come in, Bigfoot's chasing them. That's usually what happens.
Great.
I was gonna say there's gotta be some guy out there in a costume running after him at some point.
Yes. I have seen Bigfoot riding on the golf cart though.
Oh.
he
got close to the town. Yeah. And then the speakers start at 10. We're going to have Flat Rock Wood Boogers come. If y'all are familiar with Flat Rock, everybody loves Flat Rock. He lives on a habitation site. And then Tyler Howell, he's a researcher from Florida. He's coming up with Flat Rock. And then Scott DeForest is going to speak, which is, one of my teammates. Jessica Jones, Matt Delf, the badass monster hunter. He's going to be speaking. So, we got a nice little lineup. They'll start at 10:00 and it's free. There'll be vendors and food trucks and all that there. So,
an all around good time.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, it's free. Get out, knock around on a Saturday. Have some fun, eat some good food, listen to some speakers. Oh, another speaker we're going to have too is Dr. John Stamey. He's going to be there. He's new this year.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him.
He has the podcast with Matt Delf, and he's wrote several books. I have his info. He's a podcast host. He's the one that he organizes some Bigfoot conferences and UFO conferences around in Georgia, Tennessee, and the Carolinas. He's an author, speaker, and a researcher.
Okay.
Very
I'm
cool.
sure we just haven't crossed paths yet. So
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and he gave me a little insight into what he's going to be talking about, and I'm really excited to hear what he's bringing this year. It's just a different little aspect of it.
Yeah.
cool.
Do you have any plans to go search anywhere soon?
Yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
that weekend.
Good. I thought maybe with everyone coming into town, why not, right?
Yeah, well, the Flint River is very close to there too, and they had a sighting about 2 months ago in Fort Valley, Georgia. And now that's south of there, but it still follows the Flint River. Yeah, I don't know if y'all heard about that, but that man was driving to the auto parts store like that Sunday, like in the morning, and one just ran across in front of him.
Oh,
It wasn't very
okay.
far from town either, so but they think it
that.
came off Flint. Of course, I got off work that Monday. I drove right on over there to check it out, but it was houses all around. I was like, "There's people's property. This don't make any sense." And then I figured out that Big Indian Creek was actually right there where he was seen. You can't see it from the road, but if you look at the like the satellite map, you can see Big Indian Creek. So it probably came up Big Indian Creek and accidentally found itself where it shouldn't be. So, because they use creeks and rivers and railroad tracks. Now we think this is all speculation. Power lines, gas lines, stuff like that to navigate. A lot of researchers, believe that. It seems to be true.
Oh yeah, there's the road, and then I see the railroad track and where he crossed. That is so cool.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I've got it here now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it shows exactly
Can
where
you
he
see?
came out of the woods and crossed.
Can you see Big Indian Creek?
Hmm.
You got to zoom in. See, nobody brought up Big Indian Creek, but Big Indian Creek goes all the way back through Perry.
Yeah,
Matter of
says
fact, I think it goes
on
all the way.
there.
I think it goes all the way to the Oak Buggy River, actually.
It just says Flint River Swamp, railroad bed, and then shows where he crossed.
Yeah. If you do the satellite image on those coordinates and zoom in, it's almost like the head of Big Indian Creek right there.
Okay. I'll have to do that.
Is that about the area you're going to be venturing that weekend?
Well, I have met some people that live there. A woman that has grown up on that river, and they've sent me a video of something crazy watching them in the swamp. I mean, yeah, it's weird. And I haven't got to spend any time with her, talking with her yet, but they've agreed to take me out and, show me some things and tell me some, let me write up some reports on some things they've experienced. So I want to cover like from there all the way up to the Woodbury area. Are you familiar with, I know you are, but Into the Fray podcast?
Yes.
Okay. There's an episode, I don't remember the number, but if you'll search it, and it's called Flint River Peace Officer. I think they're on there 3 times. I think one time it's Pat Akins, the sheriff's deputy, and then one time it's an ex-deputy that won't reveal his name. And then another time it's both of them together. But that sheriff's deputy that won't reveal his name, he tells a phenomenal story about a woman that he picked up one night from right there on the Flint River. And I believe it's the Highway 74 bridge. She was running from it. It had thrown her down an embankment. And it was about 2:00 in the morning. She had a flat tire. So she was out changing her tire. She had babysat for some friends and was driving back home. And he found her running across the bridge. He thought she was high on drugs or something, and he put her in the back of his car, and he went down the road and ended up pulling into a gas station and talking to her more. So then he decided to go back to her vehicle. When he drove her back to her vehicle, something had destroyed the inside of her truck, like ripped the dash out. The seats were torn up and all that.
Holy cow.
It looks like it's either ITF 278 or 194.
Dang it! I was pulling it up at the same time, Amanda.
I've been trying to do as much research around that area as I can to try to get a game plan on.
Ooh, they had David Paulides on there. That'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, I need to get him. He's a great guy. Tells some.
I love to hear him speak. I love to hear him speak.
That man is the reason why, living in the middle of Appalachia, I will never hike the Appalachian Trail.
And what he says makes sense too.
Yep. Nope. No, thank you.
Agreed. What's the craziest story you've heard, Angie? Besides, I've never heard of somebody's truck being torn up inside.
The craziest one is it's actually, I wrote it in like story form. About one chasing a man. He could feel it breathing on the back of his neck when he was running from it. But it was I heard it as a kid from my uncle who was married into the family. And then, they had gotten a divorce and I hadn't seen him in years, but I always thought about that story. So I reached out to him about a year ago. And I was like, hey, I remember you telling this story. I never forgot about it. And he's like, yeah, that really did happen. And, but he had come in, I think it was like I want to say like in the 40s or something. And I don't even know if they even had electricity. I can't remember that part, but it's just a little poor little house that these people lived in on this road. It was a little family. And he had coon dogs. He was almost going to bed, and the dogs sounded like they treed something outside. So he put his shoes back on. He goes back out. He's like, they've got something treed. So he goes into takes his gun. He goes into the woods, and the dogs move. So he goes further in the woods. Dogs move again. He goes further in the woods. This just keeps happening. And then he ends up on some pulpwood road. And then the dogs come back by him like flying. He was like, where's my dogs go? They're running from something. And then he heard it coming. He was like, oh, and so he took off running with everything he had. And he runs so fast that he went by his house. He went past his house and dove headfirst through the doors of what was my uncle's house then. He was a child. And my uncle had said they didn't have a porch. And he thinks that's why he went on to his house. But he just dove straight in and just landed in the middle of the living room. And he, got up the courage to look, peek up over the window, and it was standing in the yard, a big black, hairy creature. And so when he told, everybody what happened, he said, I could feel the breath of that thing on my neck. when he was running from it.
Oh, geez.
Mm-mm.
I have another guy, and his farm was not very far from there, like as the crow flies. He is anonymous too because he's well known in the town, but he had cows, and he had leased that property, so he didn't live there. But there was a hunting club connected to it, and one of the hunters shot one of his cows. So, it made him mad. So he took that cow to the back of the property and just left it because, he's going to let them smell it pretty much. And so
You did it. Y'all
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah. So he comes back the next day, and he has this little boy with him. And this little boy's like, I want to see the cow. I want to see, how kids are. They're gross anyway. So he drives back there, going to show him the big dead cow, and it's gone. Disappeared. Just gone. So that 1,200-pound cow, he says about a 1,200-pound cow. It just like something picked it up and left with it.
Wow.
And then he said it wasn't long after that, his cousin had alpacas. And he had 2 males, and one of them, they got in a fight, and one of them killed the other one. And he called him. He's like, hey, will you bring your tractor over here and help me bury this llama? So it was the next day before he could get over there, unloaded his tractor and all, and they went out there, and that llama was gone too. He said it was a 5-strand barbed wire fence, not a drag mark, not a hair on the fence, nothing. That llama weighed about 300 pounds.
Wow.
And it was just gone too. So there's a lot of stuff out in that area.
Was it the same thing with the cow? Like there were no marks, no.
Yeah, it was just gone. Yeah, I mean, it just disappeared overnight.
It was just like a.
Matter of fact, he said he threw it in a ravine. It was a ravine back there. I guess like when it went too far from West Point Lake, so I don't know. I guess like for water runoff or whatever, and it was down in a ravine.
That's wild.
I don't know. Strange. You asked me for strange. I mean, that's
Right.
I don't know.
Yes, salty dog. There are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's reports of them eating animals that's already dead. There's a 911 call from a homeless couple that just watched one eat a whole deer. And there's no way that couple's lying. If they're actors, they need to win an award because there's just no way they're acting. So it was a deer had been hit by a car. They watched it, eat it, consume it. They was freaking out.
Well, I mean, if
They were
that's all they
homeless.
got to eat, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I think they're
Fight
opportunities.
for it.
Amanda, you have deer up in your area that just
Yeah, we find deer eating out in the fields all the time.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yeah, we live on the
parts of-
Kentucky River.
How far are you from LBL? Is that in Kentucky? Isn't that in Kentucky? The land between the lakes?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours from here. My family's actually from there. They're in Hopkinsville, so just below Land Between the Lakes. Yeah.
That's a scary place. But back to the deer that are eating on your property, like what part is consumed? Does it eat like the organs or?
Yeah, everything's gone. We usually just find the carcass, just the bones. My dogs will bring bones up to the house all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. That could be, I guess coyotes or anything really.
Yeah, we do have coyotes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just
We
don't
find
know.
a lot of deer, and they're down on the river. The river runs right behind our property, so they sleep down there and everything on the water. It's like a beach down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you another strange thing. I just got a report. I just talked to him about a month ago. Now, this happened 20 years ago. This isn't recent, but it's right over there in that same area where all that other crazy stuff. Him and his stepfather were turkey hunting, and they watched one come out of the woods and walk across the field. Never knew they were there, and they both of them watched it walk right. He said it walked right by a deer, and that's 2 stories I've heard of them walking close to deer, and the deer act like it's no big deal. I mean, I don't know, but yet then they hunt deer, so I don't know. And none of it makes any sense. It's crazy.
No. Well, Angie, I told you I'd only keep you about an hour, so I want to be honest with you.
I love your stories.
Yeah,
I can talk about
great.
Bigfoot forever.
Well, we'll get you back in here. We'll get you back in with Greg. He was in the chat earlier, Greg Ogles.
Oh, yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find out info about the Bigfoot Festival.
Well, it's on Facebook. There's an event created, but then there's a group that was created a couple of years ago. You just have to search for it. The Molena. I forgot how it's. I always just call it the Bigfoot Festival, but it's the Molena Bigfoot Fest in Elkins Creek 5K and 1 mile run. Another thing I want to say right quick, though, the Friday night before, if you can't come to the festival, the library there in Pike County in Zebulon, I think it's called I always say it, J. Joel Edwards Public Library. Jessica, Dr. Stamey, and Matthew Delph are going to be there to do a program in the library that Friday night before, from like 5:30 to 7. So it'll be a nice little program for kids, and if you can't come to the festival and just want to come meet some people and so forth.
Okay, we'll put that in the comments post show.
Okay.
And anybody at WDJY or WRFN in Nashville, you can come over and find it on YouTube. Angie, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. I had fun.
It was great having you.
Thank you. That was awesome.
I told you it wouldn't be bad. We don't bite. Well, maybe, but
Just a little bit.
We'll get you back on again. Because I had fun. So plus I like.
Well, we need to hear more stories. We need to hear about the book. We'll have a list by then.
Sounds good.
All right, Angie. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
That was great.
I could listen to her talk all day.
She
was amazing.
Yeah.
I just sat here like in a daze just listening to her.
Around the campfire, she's great. So yeah.
Yeah, you could
I
really
believe
just
it.
picture what she was seeing,
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
painted a
she's a great
very,
storyteller.
very good picture of it.
Yes.
She did. Well, you ladies know we always have 2 guests, and I want to introduce our second guest. She's an author as well. Well, I guess Angie's not an author yet. She's working on it. She's an author, and she's got a series out. Let's bring her out. J.M. Shaw. Welcome, Miss Shaw.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're glad you're here. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Okay. So I'm a published author. I've written many books. I've been writing for 33 years and became published in 2021. I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD in 2019, and that's what kind of got me onto the thinking, maybe this is my special interest because I've been writing for so many years. So then I kind of got brave and I never shared any of my stories. So then I shared my story for my series, my first book, The Ascension, and with an editor and saying, okay, well, the worst they can say is it sucks. And they came back and they said, no, this doesn't suck. You should publish. So that's what I did 2 years later.
Nice.
Awesome.
It's always great to hear it doesn't suck, right?
Yeah, that's always nice to hear.
We've had several authors on who are autistic, and they use it as a way of getting out. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I started. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and when you said that, also reminded me of a guest we had. I can't remember who it was. Said sent it to. I think it may have been Mr. Little from a few weeks ago. He said he sent it to his author or to his editor. He sent it back and said, "This sucks." So yeah, it is better to hear that it's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't have been the end of the world if they said it sucked. I would have just written for myself, but at least I would have known, right?
Hey, you never know what you can do until you try,
Yeah.
Very true.
Yep.
Very true.
So you write about the fantasy world, and I read somewhere that how did you word it? Something to the extent of why travel or why go out when I can see everything right here and write it in my own world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I visualize when I'm writing, I see it as a story, as a movie in my head, and I don't have to pay for those special effects.
Preach. Preach.
Right.
Now, when you say that, do you live the characters? Because I feel like they become a part of you when you start writing about them.
Well, I am not my characters, but I can't imagine anybody be able to write a character without putting some aspects of your personality into them.
Okay. But I guess more what I'm saying is they guide you on what they're doing, kind of.
Sometimes they do. There's been times where I'm in the zone, I'm writing, I know my character's in a situation, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just writing and it's like, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. I'm just going to follow along for the ride. And sometimes I go places where I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I didn't think about that. And creative musing. And other times I have to pause and question my sanity.
I do that frequently.
Preach as
Yes,
well.
right? I was gonna say I do that every day.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
No,
Not
just
at all.
it grounds you a little bit.
Yes.
Well, what got you into the topic of well, first off, I guess we should tell about your series and then we'll talk about the topic, how it got you into it.
Yeah, so my series, it takes place, it's a magic fantasy adventure. It's got lots of action, and it's got some supernatural horror and suspense elements kind of sprinkled in for good measure. It takes place with our world, our time, and a coexisting magical realm, but there's a veil that separates us. And we can't see or cross this veil. We don't have magic. But these creatures from this realm that do can and have, and they've been the source of inspiration for our mythologies. My main character, Callum Walker, is a young man born with the ability to use magic. He doesn't know why, and he's trying to make the most of it, and he gets caught up in what's going on in this magical realm. And then through my series, you see him trying to figure out who he is, where he fits in, because he's too magic for here, but too human for there, and then masters abilities to survive this world is very much over his head.
Wow.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, wow.
That was very well said.
Yeah.
But the only thing I don't write is, I don't write history. I get bored really easy. I don't write mystery because I'm not smart enough, and I don't write spicy romance. All right, there's some romance. It's just not spicy. Nobody needs to see what happens in the bedroom. It's a whole genre of that confusing a whole generation of people, and nobody has 3 chapters worth of stamina.
I had a guest that didn't do my homework all the way on, and she wrote that.
She has been a great inspiration.
Yes,
she is great. She is great. I won't lie. Once I found out she did know her information about Bigfoot very well, and we went a little bit further than I was prepared for. But hey.
Feel free to check out Honey Cummings. She does cryptid erotica. It's very intriguing.
I find myself going to sleep. It's just, you know what? If we were all into the same things, life would be very boring. And just history, mystery, and spicy romance is just not my thing.
Yeah.
I'm fine with other people. I'm fine with other people being their thing. It's not my thing, and I'm fine with that.
You've got to write your thing for the people whose thing it is. So
exactly. Otherwise, my books would be twice as long because there'd be a lot more things I'd have to put in there.
Very true.
Have you found that you've got a big following now? Is people
slowly? Yeah, it's slowly. People? I mean, I've only been really kind of getting out there, and I don't like the word marketing. It's very scary. So I'm trying to think of it. Okay, instead of saying marketing, how about I say showing the world I exist? It sounds friendlier.
There you go.
And so I've been solely doing that since last January-ish. and gradually seeing strides. And sometimes it's 2 steps, sometimes it's 5, and it's gradually building. But it's a marathon; it's not a race.
It's a lot like podcasting. We get
I'm
two
going to write
followers.
till the day I die anyway, so it doesn't matter.
By then,
What-
everyone will know who you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
In the nice
what
news,
originally
Go ahead, Cheyenne. Sorry.
what originally in the very beginning got you started into writing?
I needed an outlet. My mom had bought me a typewriter. Yes, I'm that old. And I started writing. This became my hobby. Then it turned into a passion. Now it's just cheaper than therapy.
Yes.
I can very much. I get that.
Yeah.
And I've tried writing, and I don't know if I'm any good at it or if I'm not patient enough. So I'm still working on it. I've got 2 books in my head, so one of these days. Well, I got a lot of things in my head, actually.
My ADHD brain will get focused on the one story, and then I'm like, oh, well, I got that one little tidbit that it doesn't go with this one. Oh, okay. So now I have to go over here and focus on this story from this one little tidbit that I got. Oh, okay. Here goes another one.
Yeah.
So I'm back over here working on.
Oh, I totally did that. I call those scene clips. So you can write like little chapters, and then you can just
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
like,
pile
gotta
little
write-
chapters of events.
I gotta write that down somewhere because that's going somewhere for later.
Yeah,
You all
exactly.
are
I do
better
that
than
with
me. I get a text message and I'm like, what was I doing?
I was talking on my phone with my friend, and I'm like looking around the house. I was like, I can't find my phone anywhere. And she,
Yes.
which was funny enough, but then she's like, oh, did you look in, I always leave mine on the counter.
Yeah. I've done the same thing, or looking for my glasses and they're on top of my head.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for them and they're on my face.
Yeah, I've done that before too.
I'm just going to admit I'm not that old yet, y'all. So
Sure.
Screw you. Screw you.
I'm sure Beth would tell you something different. So
Hey, I even had a typewriter and I thought it was the best thing ever. It was one of those big suitcase typewriters. And my dad got it for me and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Mine was
Yeah.
an electric one with the whiteout strips. So it was really,
Yeah.
Well, shoot, yours was fancier than mine.
That's fancy. I didn't even know that
I-
existed.
I was that weird kid that always really liked to go into like Staples or Walmart and go over in the computer or the phone section and press all the buttons. So I was just really happy at all the click clacky noises that it was making. And I was like,
I love
oh,
the
this
noises.
is so great.
I know my keyboard now, it's like silent, and I don't like that. I know my aunt, when she heard me typing, because I can type pretty fast, she thought I was faking, and she come over
It's
to look at me, and she's like, what are you
That's
doing?
why I got that's why I got
love
this
that.
one, because it's very clicky and I'm like,
Yes. Yeah, it's like a sensory thing. I love the sound.
Yeah.
my slow little tiny little dose of dopamine from the clicking of my keyboard.
Yeah, it's like Tetris when you fit that piece in and get a whole row.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. So how many books do you have so far?
So I've published my first 3 in my series. My 4th one is at the editors. It's going to be released early next year. And I'm starting on my 5th. I've written hundreds of stories, but until I started thinking about publishing, I just sort of stored them on a hard drive. So I've got lots of ideas there floating around and thoughts that keep me up at night. What ifs? I'm a very what if person. That's where a lot of my stories start.
So do you get those woken up in the middle of the night and have a random idea and you're up for an hour because you had to go write a full chapter?
Yep.
Glad it's not just me.
I've got a little notebook on the side of my bed, and I'll write like the first couple sentences or a paragraph or something. But yeah, if I don't, I'm tossing and turning all night thinking I'm going to forget this because thoughts don't stay in my head very long.
Same. I just woke up and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
Oh, gee. An hour later. Oh, well, okay. Well, I've basically written a whole chapter here. All right. We'll save that for later.
I'll say I'm dead.
Pretty much.
I was going to ask if you did anything in outline form or when you come out with the book, or
I'm not a big outliner. I know where I want to start. I know where to end. I know approximately what I need to shift in the middle to get there, but I like to leave that open, just to kind of let my creative muse flow, so I'm not restricted. As I'm getting into the later books, there's a lot more details that I have to draw forward from the previous one, so there are some things I have to plan, but I do allow quite a bit of creative wiggle room, so to speak.
Okay. Do you have, since you have multiple books now, and the characters cross over, do you have like I'll call it an encyclopedia, so you know that, Bob is this guy and Tom is this guy? Do you have something like that, or?
It's all in my head.
Oh, wow. Let's see. I couldn't do it.
I have like one sheet at the beginning that's just like name, main character, looks like this, is blah, 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 blah. Okay, next person. And then that's just at the beginning of everything. I just call that my character sheet.
Yeah.
I was starting to do like a bolo, like, 20 something, brown hair, brown eyes. And I'm just like, this could be anybody. And I have found it was restrictive. I couldn't visualize my characters. So I just said, you know what?
See, that's the only way I could would be like the bolo of just like, okay, well, I've got the name. It's like 20 between 25 and 30 looks like.
Yeah. See, I can remember in my head that my one character is 356 years old, and when they were 50, they were conscripted to the Century War, and they left that war. They were 150 years old, but they're an elf. So I remember these details more than anything about their history. And if I really need to have some visuals and stuff, what I do is I Google search images and just try to have like an image reference. I know somebody was asking me, like, who would your favorite cast be if he was made into a movie? I'm like, I don't want to go that into detail. I want it to be some random person. Because then if I watch a movie with that character, now I'm all going to, with that person playing that character, all I'm going to think
That's
about
all
is
you're gonna
that
see.
person in that role. Yeah.
Yes, I'll read a book and then they'll make it into a movie. And when I read the book, I picture like the actor. Like
Yes.
I read a book once and I pictured this one actor through the whole book. And then when they came out with the movie, it wasn't that actor. And I was like, this just doesn't feel right.
No, this is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think it just, it doesn't let me be as free. I mean, I can describe different elements through them. I mean, you can get a picture as you go through the series and such, but it's not that specific. Yeah, I like it to be open because everybody's going to interpret them their own way. They got this own vision in their head.
I like to just envision every male character in a book as Keanu Reeves because he's just such a versatile actor. So,
yeah. I don't know. My character, I've sometimes envisioned them as, there's so many different ones. I don't know. Like I started out envisioning them as like a young Ewan McGregor from like Star Wars. But now that's kind of shifted and changed my view of them. I mean, still bolo details are still the same, but my image of them, because their personality is what I'm seeing more than anything.
Yeah.
I really like that way of describing it. That's very because I see that a lot in how I write too. Of you start to envision them as one way, but then as personality changes, things happen, their face starts to like change in your head almost.
Exactly. Or they get some scars and you just don't want to envision that character with scars.
Or they just wind up with one because it's kind of hot. I don't know. They just woke up that next day and they had one.
I can't imagine that being a style choice, but to each their own, right?
Well, I don't. I would look at it kind of like the people that cut the part in their eyebrow as like a fashion thing. So
I suppose, yeah. That's why I said the world would be very boring if we were all the same. So to each their own is what I always say.
Yep.
Do you do any artwork?
No, I'm more writing. I'm musical. I play piano. I used to do some drawing, but I'm not very good at it. My mom is. But I'm not. My creative is more storytelling and musical.
Okay. Who inspired you when you were reading books, especially younger?
I didn't actually find much that I liked to read. I mean, my mom, when I was 12, my mom was going through doing her Bachelor of Arts, majoring in English. And we drive 3 hours every weekend to go to my grandparents' house. And I was the oldest of 5 kids. So I got to sit in the front, but only if I read my mom's college books. So I was spend like 3 hours, well, not the entire 3 hours because I'd be like motion sick, but I'd be reading like Thomas Hardy, Joseph Conrad, Emily Bronte, lots of Shakespeare, some things that I don't even remember, but that was my early experiences with reading. And I didn't understand some of the words, but the stories stuck out to me, and it was more philosophical and more, character driven. And I've always liked that idea of character driven books.
Okay. Yeah. And that was how did you envision your world? What made you come up with the world that you have your characters in?
Well, I was watching a show on Netflix called Merlin, and then I was like, I got an idea. And so it kind of started with the what if, because all my stories start with a what if, is what if fairy tales were more than stories? Monsters were flesh and blood, and we just didn't know it. And I kind of ran with it. And I like the Merlin stories. I like that, unlikely hero, anti-hero almost. I'm also a big fan of like supernatural TV series and Game of Thrones. So kind of, drew some inspiration from elements of those stories as well. And just sort of created my own little thing, my own little world. There's no original ideas out there, but you can all do your own spin on things.
Sure. Do you have any? Go ahead, Cheyenne.
I was going to say, I love that whenever you can see that in people's writing too, of, oh, well, you can tell they were a fan of, like Doctor Who. They pulled this from here. They were a fan of Star Trek. You can see they pulled that here. Yes. And
I'm a big Trekkie.
When you can see all these different components go into one, I think it's really neat.
Yeah. I didn't read a lot, but I did watch a lot when I got older. So like my teenage years and stuff, I've watched a lot of Star Trek. I've watched all the series, the original with William Shatner and the original Spock. I've watched the Voyagers. I've watched the DS9s. Some of the other ones that branched off, I didn't see all of those. But I'm also a big fan of Star Wars too. I like that political system. And there's just some things that kind of inspired my work. And those were kind of some of those things too. Yeah. Sorry, that's just stuck in my head. The Star Trek. I'm like, yes, I'm a Trekkie.
I love it. My brother, when I was little, he had the Star Trek phone. It was fantastic. He was all about it. And my son loves Star Wars.
Yes.
So I've grown up with both. I got him into Star Wars, and my brother got me into Star Trek. Or he tried. I was too old to really get into Star Trek.
My mother tried her hardest to get me into Next Generation, and I'm just like...
That was the other one I saw, yes.
And we watched MASH again instead of this.
Oh, I love MASH. No, Star Trek Next Generation, although I really like Picard, it just didn't have the same flair as like DS9 or Voyager. It was more like a political soap opera.
That was kind of my thing. Like it's a spacey soap opera.
Yeah, it had its moments, but they were few and far between. And I mean, like my ADHD brain gets bored really easy. I need some action. I need to see things happening. It's got to be some danger elements.
More jokes. More jokes.
My brother bribed me with a popsicle to go see Star Trek 7 with him.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, sure.
It was a popsicle?
Yeah. He was 16 years older than me. So a popsicle worked. I was all for it. I was like, sweet, I get to see a movie and eat a popsicle. This is great.
Double.
Make it 2 and I won't ask questions the whole time.
Right?
Yes.
Hopefully bought you
the main thing I remember is Spock singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And then at the end he goes, but life is not a dream. That's all I remember from that movie.
I love that.
I remember the one movie. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was one of the later ones where the Voyager ships, the satellites came back and they were walking on. And I was just kept trying to figure out what the heck are they walking on? It looks like the giant steps in Scotland, but it wasn't. I couldn't figure out what they were walking on. There's just some of the things, but that's my autism. I hyper focus on those little details. So
yes. And you do wonder, it's like, how did they do that? Like, how did they make this look this way or make it look like they're walking on this? When really it's probably a green screen or something.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is, but that's why I'm saying I don't have to pay for the special effects in my head, and they're a whole lot better than you can find on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Do you ever like have a dream and that is part of your story?
I don't really get a lot of inspiration from my dreams.
Yeah.
What I do for inspiration is I will put my headphones on, play my playlist that I have. I'll go for a walk, let my mind wander, watch a video reel, kind of work things out and, just sort of watch what I wanted to see in my head, like a video, kind of sorting through ideas and stuff. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's rewind and try a different direction. And then I come home 2 hours later, I have no idea where I've been, but I got an idea.
Yeah, that's great.
You went
Very
out with a
cool.
purpose and you achieved it. That's what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a whole nother life out there, apparently. I don't know.
Right.
What type of monsters are in your stories?
So, less monsters, more individuals. Like, the monsters that I have are not necessarily the antagonists to my stories. They're just there. There's an ogre shows up in my second book. There's wild beast and that kind of things, but it's more of conflict between different beings, different classes of beings. So like elves, dwarves, fairies, there's harpies, there's dryads, there's different deities that show up. There's centaurs, but I've also tried to go back to the original mythology when I built mine. So instead of just relying on what's common knowledge, I'm like, yeah, I'll just kind of see where it all started. And there's a lot of similarities because they all came from there, but then they've expanded. And they all have their own political system. They're kind of like Star Trek's, they all have their own traditions, their own religions, their own motivations, their own, some have kings, some have ruling shamans and different things like that. So.
I like it. I like it. Well, I was, I'm probably going to ask any cryptids?
Not yet, but there will be. I mean, there's some not gremlins or goblins and such, but there will be things that will show up later. Because there's on both sides of this veil, there's different beings, and some of them cross over and some of them don't.
Interesting. I like it. What do you believe there is a veil by any chance?
Oh, I hope so. It'd be very boring if there wasn't. Might explain a lot of things.
What do you envision the veil as? Do you think it's here with us, or do you think it's another planet?
I think it's probably like a dimensional thing. That's what I would envision. I mean, my story, it's not, but I would envision if there was some sort of veil separating us from it would be another dimensional world that exists on top of us, basically, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's pretty much my interpretation of it. But like you said, there's no proof,
but there's also a lot of things that we don't know, no matter how much science we throw at it.
Don't you love that? Yes.
It gives me a lot of what if questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of what if questions too. So yeah.
And I think some that we'd just be better off not knowing the answer to.
Oh, I want to know.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know all the answers. And if I can't find an answer, I want to make one up. It's more fun that way.
Can't Google everything. So
Can't. No, don't Google. I have 2 children and there's things that I've Googled. So I'm like, okay, either my son is getting too much milk or he's in liver failure. Google, you're not fun.
Yeah.
Everything comes down to cancer or organ failure. I don't know why when you're Googling health things, but
it's the internet. It's got to be true.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Doom and gloom.
Yeah,
that's what Abraham Lincoln always said.
Yep.
He had, the doctor I worked for had a mug that said, "My degree is smarter than Dr. Google."
But not smart as Dr. Wikipedia.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right.
Sure.
Though. I mean, you got a hung toenail. Oh, you're going to die. And as a paramedic, I can tell you.
Amputate the whole left side of the body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
as
heard
a
crazy
paramedic,
things.
I've had people say, "I looked it up and I've got the plague." Okay. I'll put this mask
Okay,
on.
well,
We'll
we'll
talk.
get the hell out of my office.
Let's put this glass wall between you and me, and a hyperbaric chamber or whatever isolation can do.
Yeah. It's like I said, you hang down, you're gonna die. So, but
That's as bad as Abe. He'll trip over something and be like, "Oh, I broke my leg."
That's what I say to my sons when
Just
we go
kick
out for
him.
walks and
Nope,
stuff.
you're good.
It's like, yeah. My sons will be like, "Oh, Mom, my legs are too tired." It's like, well, I've got one son still that's walking, and we'll come pick you up later.
I used to tell my son, "Oh, where's my chainsaw? I'll just cut it off."
Yeah, my finger hurts.
Well, you
Okay,
don't
give me
need
the
it.
knife. Oh, that's a good idea.
they'll call the cops on you now. You can't do that.
Yeah. They don't know that.
Right.
That's true.
So
What
they
is
go
our
to school and
parents
tell their
used to
teachers,
say?
"Mom's going to cut my fingers off."
Right.
Explain that at a parent conference.
Sure, they've heard worse.
Oh,
Hey,
just trying to get him to
he-
straighten up.
I worked so hard on his dinner. He only ate half of it. Yeah, I threatened to cut some of his fingers off. He'll be all right.
Yeah, you eat your food,
It's
or I'm going
built-
to eat you.
It's building character.
Yes.
Our parents used to say, "I brought you into this world. I can take you out." So.
Yeah.
I used to say, it's like, if you don't smarten up, I'm going to knock you into the middle of next Wednesday. And I'd be like, how can you do that? Like, you can't go forward in time. Because that's my autistic brain. I'm literally thinking, how can you knock somebody into the middle of next week? That's the future. I always take things literal.
I'm mom. I can make it happen.
Moms are
Yeah.
magic. I
Yeah.
count to 3, I become a momster.
I like that. So,
Need a
how
T-shirt of
does-
that.
Yeah. How difficult has it been raising a family and doing this?
I homeschooled, so there wasn't a lot happening while they were homeschooling. They started back to school early this year because I was finding that I was really busy. Plus, I can't make friends for them. And since they've been in school, I found that I have a lot more time during the day. Oh yeah, the eyes in the back of the head used to freak me out too. I was kind of looking for the eyes. But now that they're in school, yeah, I've got hours during the day, and it's quiet in the house, and now I'm kind of enjoying it.
I've got a grandson now that lives with us. And I was actually telling my wife yesterday, I said, "Do you remember when dinners used to be quiet?"
Are they supposed to be quiet?
I wouldn't trade it for the world. Don't get me wrong. But
I you know what, I have two very, like, I used to get told that my two boys, they're 8 and 10 now, and that everybody who watched them used to say, "You have two very busy boys." My boys are both on the spectrum. And I didn't know what that meant because it was my world. I knew nothing else, right? Until I watched a little girl one time and I was babysitting her, and I thought she was broken because she sat on the floor and played quietly. She wasn't trying to hit somebody over the head with a toy or dive bomb somebody off the couch. And she actually played for like 30 minutes straight without screaming or trying to kill someone. And I was like,
Just walking up.
"What's wrong with that child?" Yeah.
What's wrong with her?
And then I realized how busy my boys actually were.
Like, oh no, that's normal. That no.
It's like, why did I get that?
bless you.
What did I do in a previous life?
Yeah, boys are difficult to start with. Bless you.
Yeah. Well, I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I have 4 younger brothers. I was kind of hoping for a daughter, but at least I know what I'm getting into with boys. So. Plus, I wouldn't trade them for the world. I love them to death.
When I had my ultrasound done and they told me it was a boy, I was like, "Can you erase it?"
You would only trade it for the world between the hours of 8 and 2:30.
Yeah, or anytime they're awake. My grandpa used to say, "Kids are only good when they're sleeping. They just don't sleep enough." When I was
They
younger, I
had
used
the
to
terrible 2s, but not the terrible 3s and the terrible
Oh.
4s.
wars.
and the 10s and 11s and 12s.
Yeah,
Teenage years.
8-year-old who's been in the terrible 2 since he was 18 months, and he's not gone out of him since.
It's looking
But
a
it's
little late
fun.
for that.
Yeah, it's fun. Spicy little boy.
Well, I told my daughter, I gave her the same curse my parents gave me.
Yeah.
I hope one day you have children just like you. So.
That's that's why
Right.
my
See,
kids
I
are
think-
like the way they are.
I
It's
think
my mom
that's my biggest fear. The world doesn't need a tiny me. There's already enough. I don't like I'd be lucky enough to have a little boy that would be as bad as me. Like, let alone if it was a girl, but like I could just picture a little boy who is as bad as me. I think we'd both be trying to wring each other's neck.
Well, I have to say, as spicy and strong-willed as my youngest is, I will never have to worry about him getting picked on. In fact, he might end up being a bully. So, at least he's going to be fine when he gets older. It's just right now it's difficult.
Well,
You just have to be like, hey, you can bully people to an extent, but you have to let them know that it's playful bullying.
Yes.
Amanda, where did your what's his name, 0 Days? Where did he get
Yeah. Yeah. So my son's nickname is 0 Days because he gets hurt every day.
Nice. Typical
So
boy.
we found out. Yeah. He has to have surgery on his elbow. We found out today. So he goes back on November 13th for more x-rays because apparently it could also be broken. So they have to make sure it's not broken. And if it's broken, we have to wait for that to heal before they can do the surgery. And he plays trombone and marching band in college.
I was about to be like, what? How did he break his elbow during marching band? Who hit him with the tuba? Who hit him with the marching tuba?
I think if it's broken, it's not extremely badly broken.
It depends on
And
his mobility, maybe.
I think he did it skateboarding. He had a skateboarding accident, or a few of them. And I think that's maybe what caused that part. But the surgery is actually for a calcium deposit that is in the shape of a bee stinger that is poking his skin.
Oh.
So when
Interesting.
he goes to one of the positions with his trombone, it's like poking him in the arm.
Like you got a needle in there. Ouch.
So they actually have to go in to get to it and get rid of it.
Ouch.
So
That's crazy.
that's the thing for the past few days, but he gets hurt every day. The way he found out and had to go have the x-rays, he hit his arm really bad in engineering on a piece of machinery. He was like, that really hurt. And then when they felt, they said, something's not right with your elbow. You need to go have x-rays done. So that's how they found it.
Did he get this
That's
trait from
crazy.
you or Abe? Neither?
We don't get hurt that much. We do not get hurt that much. I have no
He's
idea.
making up for both of you.
Right? Yes, he had a skateboard accident that was really bad, and he had scratches all down his chest. It was really bad. He trips all the time in marching band. He's fallen down at
Sounds like
least 3
me.
sets of stairs since moving into college.
God.
Sounds like me. I'm like, I can walk towards an open door, see the open door, and still manage to hit the door frame or trip over my own feet and smack my face. So
Maybe he does get it from me. I've ran into screen doors before. I do trip a lot.
I was gonna say, didn't you just recently take a tumble out in the driveway?
Oh, yes, I did. I fell in the gravel driveway. My knees are still sore from that. That was, what, a few weeks ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a big scab on my knee from falling in the driveway. So I guess he did take it from me. I just don't realize how much I fall and get hurt.
Knees and memory both going.
Yeah. Yes, Chris. He needs to just be bubble wrapped 24/7.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was lucky. My son wasn't like that, so I got lucky. He didn't break anything, so he had a concussion or two, but that was about it.
Ugh,
We've had
Those are
stitches a
bad
couple
enough.
times.
yeah.
That first time with your kids when you have to take them to the ER for something is so traumatic. Even for me, it was a paramedic. It was My wife calls me at work and goes, I'm pretty sure he's cut his finger off, or my daughter has cut her finger off. I'm like, what? I was like, what did she do? She's opening a can of cat food. I was like,
Ooh.
okay,
That'll
I'll meet
do
you at the
it.
hospital.
Yes,
I
those
used to,
cans are
I
sharp.
worked in X-ray for many, many years, and I saw some crazy things, as like cans versus snowblowers, that kind of stuff. It was crazy things that people do, and it's
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That should give you some inspiration if you worked in the medical field.
Just a little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
Especially if you worked at a trauma center. Holy cow. So
Oh yeah, I worked in big city emergency room, ER, X-ray department. I've worked on small town reservation hospitals where I am the X-ray department, so I see everything that comes through. And then I've worked in clinic, and I actually prefer the emergency. I've done ORs, done CTs, see all sorts of stuff, and
I'm like you. I
That's
prefer the
crazy.
emergency. Of course, paramedic. Yeah.
hey, if you're gonna see crazy stuff, you may as well go all out, right?
Agreed. I always like when you get on scene and go, all right, you ain't gonna believe this. I'm like, actually, I probably will.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. I tried something new. Nope, seen this one. So.
And you have to tell the doctors, like, you gotta come see this.
Yeah, exactly. Call them up on the radio when you're coming in and go, hey, I got a good one for you here. So,
I always love listening to the story. So how did this happen again?
yes.
Just tell it to me one more time, just a little bit slower.
Yeah, let me
A
write
little
that
more
down.
detail.
And he always I had 2
oh.
beers. Yeah, 2 beers.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Only
That's
you
right.
sure there wasn't a
That's good.
one before that?
That's
There
gonna
wasn't
be
a
my
one.
last words. Hold my beer.
Yeah. Well, before I got married, I can't tell you how many times I got proposed to in an evening to call back.
Yes.
Some
Now I
of
can
them
just
were
watch them live.
paramedics too. So
Yeah. Had somebody dislocate their shoulder trying to grab my butt.
Oh my gosh.
did you dislocate it or did they?
They did it themselves.
Oh, okay. See, because Amanda's a professional wrestler. I can see her doing that. So.
Yeah.
Well, I've never dislocated my shoulder, but I have kicked a man across the room. But that was when I was doing karate.
There you go.
And it wasn't intentional. He dropped his guard.
Oh,
It's
he
his fault.
deserved it then.
It was his fault.
Yeah.
He never saw it coming, in other words.
Yeah. At least it was above the belt that I kicked him, though. So
Oh,
Well, then that's no
Awful.
fun. Bull crap.
It is appreciated. It is appreciated. I will take this one for him. It was much appreciated.
He didn't deserve it. He
had he been
deserved.
blocking, it would have been below that belt. So
Well, you're more than just an author. You've got quite a few things going on there. You've got quite a story.
oh no, I'm boring.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Well, I think I told Angie this earlier. You never know with guests, especially since we don't pre-interview. And sometimes it's like pulling teeth, like, talk back, answer, say something. But no, you sound like you've had quite some experiences.
See, I have a problem with oversharing too.
We love that.
Yeah.
That's okay. As long as you don't mind it being broadcast on the radio, it's all that
I'm
matters.
not sharing anything that personal that I haven't told everybody else in the whole wide world that I already know.
You're not running.
They
for
probably already
president.
know. They're rolling their eyes going, oh, I've already heard this story.
It's just like the 6th time.
Yeah.
It's all new to us. So. Well, did you ever do any outdoorsy stuff?
Oh yeah, I love hiking, biking, done canoeing when I was a kid. Now I've got back pain. I'm getting old and I had to stay on the flatter trails now. So I climbed a small mountain, but yeah, it was pretty small. It was only half an hour up.
Hey, there's something to be said about waking up and somehow ending up in pain. I discovered that recently. So
Sleeping is dangerous. I woke up like, I swear, 2 months ago, and I had to go to physio for the next 2 months because my arm's numb. I'm like, it sucks. I'm getting old. It sucks.
on a vacation.
Yeah, and you can't
An
sleep too
Airbnb bed.
soundly because then
Yeah. Well, I didn't know
And that
sleeping could be
too.
so dangerous. I went to sit down in one of the little kids' chairs, like, the little short kitty ones and stuff. I was halfway down and my back went out. And I was like, ugh.
Oh
I
gosh.
had to go to a chiropractor for the next month. I'm just like, geez. I've been training for the same 5K for the last 4 years because I keep getting injured.
I'm training for a 5K my whole life. I'll never make it.
Right?
I remember being, I come home from work and I jump on the treadmill and I do like 5 kilometers and I do that like 5 or 6 days a week and no problem. Now I'm like, I walk, my walk is like 5.5 kilometers and stuff. And I get home and I was like, well, I ran across the intersections. Now my knees hurt.
Yep.
Hey, you did something.
Yeah.
That's what counts.
Yeah, I tried.
Oh,
I hate it
gosh.
with all the technology. My watch, if I'm sitting here doing something too long, my watch will start vibrating going, it's time to get up, fat ass. It's time to get up.
I know. I was driving along
Quit,
and I've got
Mom.
this.
Jeez.
I got a new car and I'm driving along because it's from where I live to the next to my mom's house is like 2.5 hours. And I'm driving along and my car comes flashing this thing. Is like, you should stop for a coffee. And I'm like, what? Okay, I'm just gonna pull over on the side of the road somewhere and stop for coffee. It's just the weirdest thing. My car told me to take a cup of coffee. I was like,
That's
okay.
crazy.
Brought
I
to you by
think-
Dunkin' Donuts.
I'll stop at the next Tim's that I see. So
Yeah.
What car tells you to get a coffee?
it was a Prius. It's never told me that since. It only told me the one time, and I don't know what it was. I think my husband did something to it.
Huh. I wonder if
It
like,
just
slows
pops
down,
up.
or-
You seem really
That's so
tense today.
weird.
You should
And my
stop
husband's
and
like,
get
"Oh, did
coffee."
you notice that? Did you notice that? Did you see what it said?"
He's just like,
He didn't want to tell you he had to take a pee break.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe he wanted the coffee.
Could be. You never know, right?
Carter's always yelling at me about eyes forward, put your hands on the wheel. What? You can
I
drive.
get the little
You're
steering
smarter
wheel
than me.
image that comes up when it thinks I'm driving crooked, and I'm like, "No, I'm driving to avoid potholes."
I drive a farm truck. It doesn't do fancy stuff like that.
No.
yeah. It's when I got my car. It was right before they added all the fancy stuff in. So I like to say mine is like the lowest tier.
Yeah,
my
you
first
actually have
car,
to
you had to
roll the
crank the
windows down in
windows.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
I-
mine is.
Yeah, I didn't have fuel injection. I had to push on the gas, but it was great because in the wintertime, if it wouldn't start, I just pop the hood, open up the thing, stick a wrench in the choke, and start her up. Great.
It's funny.
Yeah.
My boyfriend's girlfriend does not remember to lock the door because you actually have to push it down.
Yep, I remember that.
I'm like,
The days
did you
before
lock
car
your door?
starters.
I was reading an article the other day talking about the EVs, and manual transmission is going to be a thing of the past because
Oh,
not
thank
only
goodness.
does the youth not know how to drive them, but with electric vehicles, you don't know when to shift. So Toyota and Honda, maybe they're coming up with a thing where it'll replicate making engine noises, but it's still a fake shifter.
It's pretty bad when they have to now. It's so smooth. They have to replicate the sounds.
Right? Yeah.
I just, well, my wife's got an electric car, and I always kid her she's sneaking up on me. So
I miss my manual shift. I had a Camaro for a little bit and I loved it.
I hated driving the stick shift, especially
Yeah.
riding when I was a kid. I would ride in the middle. That's what I learned on my grandpa's truck with a stick shift, and it was like,
Then you get
you'd always
hit in
make
the
these-
kneecap with it.
yes. And if he wasn't hitting you in the kneecap with it, he's reaching over, tickling your knee, and then saying, "Stop moving! You're going to make me shift out of gear."
Oh gosh. I love it.
I feel that. I have very core memories of that. Just oh God.
It's like, yeah, I don't have any nerve endings there anymore. Thank you. It's all black and blue and lovely colors. I'll just wear leggings now. Oh wait, they didn't make them. That was the day before. I'll wear corduroy pants. Then I can hear you can hear me coming up.
Get
I'm
your
dating myself
your,
here.
get your windbreaker tracksuit.
Yeah, the lovely
Yes.
Austin Powers purple.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
I had one of those. The 3-inch bangs with the slouch socks and yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm really
I
doing
had to
myself.
have the perfect rainbow for my bangs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Had
use
to
like a
curl
half a
them
can
back.
of hairspray.
And you had to split them. Half had to be down, half had to be up, and the perfect
Okay.
rainbow.
I predated that. They just all were like that.
Yes. That
I
was
had the
more.
suspenders over the shirt, and then you wear a shirt on top of it. Yeah. Like
Yep.
the the one-piece
Yeah.
suspender pants.
Oh yeah, with the side ponytail.
Oh yeah, like it's got to be like one side, right? Or the
Yeah.
side braid. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the headband that comes to here.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Did you have the
Good
Michael
times.
Jackson jacket?
I didn't, only because I only got secondhand clothes, so I had to make them work.
I was guilty of that one. So don't.
Oh
don't-
yeah.
Yeah, don't at me. So
I had leg warmers.
I love leg warmers.
it's a long time ago.
I think we totally need to bring back leg warmers.
I heard scrunchies are making a comeback.
Oh,
And slouch
I can
socks.
see that. Yeah. You got a scrunchie?
The ones that you do on
Yeah.
purpose. Slouch socks on purpose.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you have
Mine had
a
to be
scrunchie?
just right.
Oh yeah.
She does.
Nice. And you always wear them on your wrist, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Just in case.
Everything comes back. It always does.
I know.
Yeah.
Bell bottoms. Please don't bring those back.
No. Our
Oh
corduroy.
no, please, we need the bell bottoms.
We had them for a while. They were back for a little bit.
Yeah.
But the main thing I've seen that's back is how I dressed in high school with the black pants with all the pockets and the chains.
Mhm. It's like the emo
Yeah.
goth now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is now?
I
Or
don't
the
know.
or the scene kids.
Mine were Jinkos.
I'm just trying to keep up with the slang.
Oh, that's hard. That's
It
almost
changes,
impossible.
I think, every few years it changes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did have one of those.
Your gene code genes are lacking Riz, Amanda.
Yeah.
And that's cap. No cap.
What is it on? They're totally on fleek, or what is it? How's it go? I don't know. I was sounding really stupid.
No, that was a couple years ago.
Oh, see, I'm even farther behind than I thought. No, my kids are 8 and 10. They're not teenagers yet, so it'll be a whole language when they get to.
And Ohio means something now too.
Does it?
What?
Ohio means that something's like lame.
Oh,
Because the
I know,
state is lame.
I know. Showing a teenager when I was getting married. This was like a long time ago. I was showing her my dress for my wedding because I tried it on and stuff. She, oh, that's a chill dress. I was like, well, no, it's going to be inside. It's not going to be too cold. And then she's like, no, chill means good. I'm like, oh, sorry, autism took over.
Have you
Yeah.
ever heard of Ohio?
Yeah, no, I had to Google that one. I was like,
Yeah, that's weird. I
Yeah.
remember back when my husband and I first got together, he told me I was jelly. I said, "Does that make you peanut butter?"
Surprised you didn't slap him.
she's like,
It's
well,
not-
I'll be the jelly to your peanut butter.
Right?
It's not
Yeah.
what my husband said when 3 days after I had my first child, still out of the hospital, had the baby weight I haven't lost because he's still 3 days post birth, brings me into work to show off the baby and introduces me, hey, here's my wife, she's my bigger half. You could have heard a pin drop.
Oh, was he the one you kicked by any chance?
Surprised.
Might have been
He has a
justified.
serious case of foot in mouth.
Might have been justified at that point.
And he hadn't gotten laid for a month after that.
I just had a baby, of course not. He slept on the couch for a little bit.
Make that 6 months.
Should
Right.
have.
Good thing he's cute.
If
And
he
he was-
didn't have such a nice ass.
If he wasn't so useful and wanted to do the dishes whenever without having to be nagged, I might just trade him up for some next model.
Gosh.
Those newer ones are so hard to train.
I know. You just get them broken in and then you have to start all over again.
Yeah.
I've
Truth.
been
Yeah.
married since time began, so I don't know what it's like. I'm a broken man, so.
Yes,
I
we
told
know
Dave,
Father
if he
Christmas.
passes away, I'm done. I'm not training another one.
Oh
I'm
no,
done.
I think I'll just go it alone. I'm just like, yeah, forget
Yeah.
it. I'll write. Maybe then I'll take up
Right?
spicy romance.
Yeah, there you go.
The same thing my wife says. She's, once I'm done with you. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm just done.
Once you're done being useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When your battery runs out, I'm done with you. Just throw it away. Great. I feel so useful around here.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe we
Shit,
gave
she's
some
still
inspiration.
she
How did we get on-
is still having to nag your ass to do the dishes too.
I got a daughter that lives here for that, so I'm lucked out.
Oh, you can get nagged by two people.
Oh, trust me, me and the cat,
Touching.
we're screwed. Me and the cat,
Need
we're the
the
only
energy.
two.
The energy crystal to throw at you.
Yes.
Either that or a mascara pen.
Yeah.
I've got a plethora of rocks on my desk that she's thrown at me, so yes. So. Unfortunately, she's given me the crystal thing I got into by mistake for her birthday. I don't know if I told you all this or not, but I got an invitation on Facebook to go to this link for a auction for crystals. And I pulled it up just out of boredom. I was watching football. The game sucked. And it had something I knew she liked, which was pretty good for me, I thought. So I'm like, hey, do you want this? And she's like, yeah, I'll take that. And I'm like, all right. So I had to figure out how to do it. Well, it turns out that they're in China. So in order for me to get decent shipping, I had to spend more money. And she was already in bed by this point, and I was watching football, and this lady's driving me crazy about, what do you want? And I'm like making up crystal names that I think she likes. And yeah, so she got a great birthday present, but it won't be here anytime soon. It's on the
Give it at least 6 months.
Yeah, I got suckered into that one. So, the things you do for love.
True.
Just to be beat over the head with them.
Yeah.
They're not here yet.
No, well, she'll go find some more and throw them at me when I least expect it. So, well,
That's why we have paved driveways here and not gravel ones.
Lucky.
Well, before we let you get out of here, we always ask our guests one question: have you ever had any paranormal experiences?
Well, sure I have. I've worked in a hospital. They're all haunted.
Yes, they are.
I've been the sole person in X-ray departments. I swear I saw somebody walking in my X-ray department through the window. I was like, who's in there? And go in there, nobody's there. Or people walking into rooms and then you look in the room and they're like, it's an empty room. Where did they go? Just things like that. All hospitals are haunted.
Yeah. No personal up close and personal experiences?
Like touch you on the shoulder or like all of a sudden something's there in the doorway?
More like just freaked you out more than anything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All of the above.
Okay. And it was all in the hospital?
No, not all in the hospitals. No. We lived in, I swear our house had some serious bad mojo vibes. The house that we lived in, a couple houses that we lived in and stuff. And now, the house that we're in now, I did have to have it saged.
Oh.
We were seeing some pretty crazy things out of the corner of our eyes.
It always makes you wonder when it's the corner of your eyes. Like, does it really exist? Are we looking into something else?
Well, it wasn't just me. Like, it was my child too. I had a balloon follow me down the hallway and then stop at the kind of duck down into the door and come and then stand there. Just stop there like a helium balloon, like it's on the ceiling. There was no draft in my house.
One of your children's name isn't Georgie, is it?
No.
That's weird.
making
Any
sure.
experiences out
I
in the woods?
just remember with my little guy, I was walking down the hall. I said, "Okay, we're gonna go to bed," and he's like 18 months old, so he's holding my hand. We get about halfway down the hall. He's like, "No, no, no!" Running back to the room, and I'm sitting there in the hall. We go, "No, I want to run back away."
It's gonna be brave for the kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything out in the woods? Any Bigfoot? Anything like that?
I don't tend to go out in the woods when it's dark because you can stumble, and I'm very clumsy, so I don't want to get impaled on a stick. That would be a heck of a way to go. Put that on my tombstone. I've heard things out in the woods.
Took her out.
I lived out in BC where it's like, back of the house, little bit of yard, forest. And I've heard things in the forest rustling around. Sounds a lot bigger than a squirrel. Hoping it was a bear, but it doesn't sound like a bear.
Yeah.
And I'm not going out there to check.
It can just stay
It can stay out there. I don't have windows on the bottom. If I get called into work, I've got to go out the basement to my car. I'm going to open the door, slam it really shut, make a loud noise, scare anything away, and then dive into my car.
What does it say? When it's cold outside, bring them in. Just leave that out there. So
Yes. Well, I mean, I literally had to call in, like, we're in the wilderness. I had to call into work. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be a little late. There's a bear on my car. I don't have a car starter, so I might be a little bit. He's very interested in my antenna. Oh, now it's in his stomach. I'm sorry. I'll be a little late.
there was just a Ring video of a bear taking a whole, the big cans on wheels, taking it off. It turned off, and I was like, "This is why people confuse them with Bigfoot." So,
yeah, it's those black bears too. They're just, I don't know. They're not smart. The brown bears, I would never go near them at all. Black bears, you can chase away pretty easy.
Yeah.
You just have to yell really loud and jump scare them.
In my part of the woods, we don't have black or brown ones. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, hey, before we let you go, I want everybody to know where they can find your stuff, where they can find you if they want to get in touch with you, if you want.
Oh yeah. So my website has everything you'll need. It's www.jmshawauthor.com. It's got my bottom of my homepage. It's got my Instagram, my Facebook. It's got my email, so you can send me a message or follow me. I've got a subscription email thing that you can sign up for. I don't send things out often, just in something important, like a new book is coming out. And then if you go onto my events page, it'll tell you where I'm going to be for book signings or other events in the future. I've also got tabs for each one of my books that you can click on, and there's links to them on Amazon. There'll be Kobo. If you're in the US, they're also on Barnes & Noble too, and I'll be putting those tabs up there soon.
Cool. All right.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Well, when you get your next book done, we'll have to get in touch. You have to get in touch with Mickey or email me, and we'll have you back.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to come back. This is fun.
It is. We're just chill. We don't bite. Well, like I said, we might a little bit. So
just a nibble.
Just a nibble. Just a nibble.
Just enough to make you concerned.
I know you're in a different time zone than us, so you're probably up a little bit later. So thank you.
Actually, you guys are later than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm out west. I'm mountain time.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought you were the other way. Okay.
Oh, no.
I do appreciate your time, and try and have a great evening. Don't beat your kids or anything. So.
Oh, they're in bed right now, so they're good. They're good when they're sleeping. They just don't sleep enough.
Yeah.
Exactly. Have a wonderful night. We will talk to you in the hopefully near future.
Thank you very much.
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. That was great.
Fantastic.
She's a hoot.
It was.
Yes.
Great show. Great show.
Two
And
wonderful guests.
everybody at WDJY and WRFN, thank you for tuning in to the Paranormal Guys. We appreciate it. Make sure to come back next week and check us out. Or come over to YouTube and find us at the Sport Cat Shows on YouTube, or the Paranormal Guys. And like, follow, share, and subscribe. We'd love to have you over here. So, Amanda, you got anything going on the next few days or weeks or whatever that you want to pump or talk about?
We've got 2 Broke Witches coming up on Monday. I'll see if I can be here Saturday for the Misfits. Not
Please?
sure
Please?
about this weekend. Yeah, that's all I can really think of. We're going to try to have an investigation ready for Monday. Haven't heard back from Shay on that yet. Oh, thanks, the Suey. Who's the Suey?
I don't
Haven't
know.
seen that name on here before.
No,
I haven't either.
Hope they like, follow, share, and subscribe. So,
Yeah,
all right.
that's
Well,
all I can think of that I have going on.
well, next week on the Paranormal Guys, we have two great guests. We have Jonathan Fink. I don't know if either of you, I don't know, Cheyenne, if you're going to be on or not, but he's an author of Sports Gods. So that should be interesting. So he's a believer in sports gods. So I'm interested to have him on.
Well,
And then-
wait. What is it? What?
What is
That's
what?
right. A sports god. Like the god of baseball, the god of football, sports gods.
I'll be working.
She is so not into sports.
Well,
Hey,
you will
hey,
be.
Everybody will be proud of me. I actively watched some hockey last night and enjoyed it.
I'm
Nice.
proud of you. Maybe
Mostly
maybe
because
there's
of
hockey
watching the guys start fighting each other.
Yes, that's the best part
And
about
I-
hockey.
And I took note. It was the New York, is it Rangers?
Huh? Yeah.
And the Washington Capitals,
Mhm.
I think.
I don't know if they're are they the Capitals? I should know
The
this.
team,
I'm from
the
there.
team was the Capitals.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that's correct. I
Uh-huh.
should know that. I'm from DC.
I remembered.
well, you're also going to be out of luck because
Capitals.
Wayne Miller is returning. He finally got his book out, The ATF Agent. So yeah, you're going to miss that. That's going to be a great show. He's written, well, the book he was talking about, his experience, he's transferred over into novel form. So I can't wait for that.
Fudge.
The Flames of Secrecy. It's coming out. I think it's coming out next week. It's coming out soon around our show because he messaged me. He was like, "Hey, I want to be on." I'm like, "Hey, we want you on."
Wait, what day is that?
It's next
The
Wednesday. It's always a
Can you be in
Wednesday.
the chat?
Yeah, but I was trying to what the date was.
Oh,
Oh well, it's what is it? November
November
6th? Yeah.
6th. Yeah.
6th.
Well, Amanda's got you covered. See, we got Chris all pumped up. We got
Hey,
sports and ATF. It's like a party. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and sports. A party.
Yep. We are ready. I'm there with you, Chris. I'm ready.
It'll be fun. So yeah, he has great stories. So I can't wait to hear about his book. He didn't tell us too much about it last time. If you remember, he would only give us little snippets of what he was doing. I'm excited. And he's a hoot to have on. So it'll be good times. Cheyenne, so you won't be back Saturday or Wednesday. Will we see you the following Saturday? Oh, she's got to Google this.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
I will be here the 9th.
you're working.
I'm saving-
interfering with me.
I'm saving lives, Glenn.
I know, and I got you into this, so I'm responsible.
and by saving lives, I mean sitting there with a headpiece on my head. Because lately it's been all crap for the cops. So I've just been
so nothing good's happened. All right.
no, the past 2 days has just been all cop stuff. So I'm like,
Have they taught you the Q words yet?
now I just started learning how to do the tones. So I was excited about that.
No. But using the Q word.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't work. It doesn't work with us.
Okay. All right. Well, don't test it because the EMS gods are cruel.
Well, my boss decided to because he was irritated that not enough was going on to be able to show me. And one of my other coworkers about punched him in the face and
Yes.
said a spew of expletives. And that's when it started getting into the stories of, hey, new girl, did he ever tell you that he effed his sister? He was a little mad.
Oh my gosh.
Amanda, if you're not familiar with it, in public safety, you never use the Q word, quiet. Don't ever say it.
Or
For
in
24 hours.
Yeah.
or in hospitals, in nursing homes,
Mhm.
assisted livings.
Yeah, we
say
don't
Q.
even say it at our job because we get all those phone calls. If it's the Q word, you don't say it because you're going to jinx yourself.
No, the past 2 days, I got one call the other day at 4 a.m, and we were all like,
Was it the phone? Is that what that was?
no, it was just like, okay, something we can do.
Let's wake
I'm
up
like-
the paramedics.
I'm like, shut up, I got it. I got it, we're good.
Well, you're still enjoying it though, right?
Oh yeah.
Good.
I work with quite the amusing bunch of guys, so who
Well,
are just a bunch of assholes to each other, and I love it. So
next
That's
Wednesday
great.
night during the second hour, tell them to pop YouTube up on the TV and they can watch it
I
on
can do
TV.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
That's what I was saying. Can you at least
didn't
be in the chat?
I didn't think about putting it on the TV. Yeah, I can totally do that. I'm gonna be like, y'all screw off with your other stuff. I'm putting up both the. I'm taking over, I'm taking over the two TVs for a couple hours. Y'all shut up. I got to hear about y'all's stupid streams all the time. So y'all shut up and you're going to listen to mine.
And tell them to come over, like, follow, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
KJ, thank you. I hope you're a subscriber as well as the others up there. We had a great show, great chat.
Yes.
It was a good show.
Oh, and I'll miss you. I'll miss you too, Chris.
Well, hopefully Amanda will pinch hit for you since Aaron
I like that. The world doesn't need a little me as the title of my autobiography. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
I like that.
That's great.
Thank you, Chris. I'll be sure to whenever I use that, I'll be sure to throw you in a little IOU.
KJ, in case you're confused, this is a YouTube channel and it's a live show. So I'm not
On
really sure
the tube of you.
and you should subscribe because it's a great show.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think you missed the two guests though. You came in a little late.
Yeah, you'll have to go and do playback. So we had two great guests. So one talking about Bigfoot and the other one talking about our books and life. So, but yep, we're going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. It's almost that time. And we want to thank WDJY, WRFN, Rainbow Radio, Ross Radio at yergs.com or something like that. I don't know. You'll figure it out. Just search Yergs, Y-E-R-G-Z. You'll find it. Well, who are you? You're not subscribed, or will you ever be subscribed ever? Well, KJ, that really sucks. Maybe you're just a dick. So,
Hey Jay, you know what? Suck a satchel of Richards. Ingest a satchel of Richards.
I wish it was earlier. My chat would have went off on you, KJ. So,
Yeah.
Chris, take care of him.
Everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week. We'll see you Saturday.